Welcome back. Here today with an old friend of the show. We've got Jennifer Griffin from Covenant Hospice. Jennifer's been on several times in the past talking about upcoming events. Covenant Hospice is an organization that talks the talk but walks the walk. As a matter of fact, they spend an awful lot of time right here in Washington County, even though they don't even have an office here, engaged in that community. Today, I think, talking to veterans because Veterans Day is upcoming. We're here to talk about Marianna Mistletoe Market. If you remember last year, they had their inaugural event. It was a huge success. Thousands of people got to enjoy it. When we come back, we're going to talk to Jennifer about this year's upcoming, new and improved, even bigger event coming up very soon. And it's something you're probably not going to want to miss. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guest today is Jennifer Griffin from Covenant Hospice. Wow, you are busy. We've been going back and forth in email, phone calls, trying to arrange this. Obviously, I was out for a while with surgery. Thanks for taking the time today. We're lucky that we caught you here today. And before we get started on talking about what we're here to talk about, you are here in Chipley today honoring our veterans. How cool is that? You guys are a huge part of the community. You're very engaged, and you don't miss an opportunity to give back because that is what your business does.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit about what you were doing today.
Today we are actually at 10 o'clock this morning at Northwest Florida Chipley Hospital, and this afternoon we'll be at the nursing home honoring the veterans who are residents at the facility. We will present them with a We Honor Veterans certificate, and we will actually pin each of them and honor them and thank them for their service.
Well, and I know there are a lot of people that will say this, and they're all saying it because they believe it, but I got to tell you, there's nobody more patriotic than me, and I tear up when I talk to a wounded warrior, when I talk to a veteran. On our worst day, we're the envy of the world. We live in the best place, and those guys that you're talking to, that's good. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, and never miss an opportunity to thank our veterans. Certainly, we have a tender spot in our heart for wounded warriors, and we do a lot with them. But anybody who's worn the uniform, who's served, and it doesn't matter in what capacity, take the opportunity, and thank you for thanking them. We appreciate Covenant Hospice, and this is just one more example of why. Okay, on to lighter things. Marianna Mistletoe Market. Hard to believe it was a year ago that we sat here and you were telling me about this new event. You were all excited and you hit a home run the first time out. What is Mistletoe Market?
Oh, it's such a great event. We rent the Ag Center on Penn Avenue in Marianna, and we sell booth spaces to local vendors. Most of them are from the tri-state area, and they come and bring their wares, and it's all prefaced around holiday shopping. It's decorated, Artistic Designs Unlimited does a beautiful job decorating, and all of the vendors come ready to get your Christmas list taken care of.
You know, when we did talk about doing this segment, I said, wow, it's too early to start talking about Christmas. But not so much.
Not so much, no.
You go into the big box stores, they're already decorating for the holidays. You know, there was a news story just recently about the Port of Los Angeles on the West Coast. They've got container ships backed up, and their yards are full of containers. They have such an influx of goods, and that's one of the issues we have today, that we import more than we export. But we have so much stuff trying to get in that they say some of this won't hit the shelves until after Christmas that's supposed to be there now. So certainly not too early to talk about Christmas.
No.
What is the actual date of this year's event?
This year's event is actually going to be a 3-day event. We added another day. It's going to start November 20th. That's a Thursday afternoon from 5 to 8. We'll open the doors to shoppers. It's $5 a person to get in. Saturday, November 21st is from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. And then on Saturday, the 22nd, we'll be open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Only a couple of weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks from today.
Wow. So November 20th, 21st, and 22nd. It's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Correct.
Is that the same way you did it last year?
No, actually last year we just had shopping open to the public all day Friday and all day Saturday. We are adding a Thursday evening just to accommodate some other people who may want to go out of town for the weekend and want to catch it before they leave that Thursday night, and we want to be able to get all the shoppers we can.
Yeah, some people are fortunate enough, they have shift work or they're a stay-at-home mom. They have that opportunity to shop during the day or they slip away. I remember last year, noontime was very busy every day.
Yeah.
A lot of people slipping away on their noontime hour. But this is cool. This gives them an opportunity on Thursday night. Plus, they get first pick at all the good stuff. I mean, it's all good stuff, but let's face it, there's some stuff that, once it's gone, there's not something else behind it to replace that. So it gives you your first look, the first glimpse of all that. How many vendors did you have last year?
Last year we had 28 booth spaces, with some of those being double booth spaces, but this year we've increased it to actually 31 spaces, and have a couple that still have double booth spaces, but we've added, most of our vendors returned from last year, a few did not, but we've picked up several new vendors. And I've been excited watching on Facebook. Several of the vendors have purchased a secret item that they're unveiling that Thursday night at the Mistletoe Market to kind of build the hype up about the show. So I hope it really entices shoppers.
Yeah, and we're showing some clips from last year's event. We had the fortune, and you allowed us to set up and do some interviews. We got to talk to shoppers. We got to talk to some of your staff. More importantly, and what was of great value to us, was being able to talk to those vendors. We talked to them the first day, talked to them a little bit the second day, and they just got more excited the longer the weekend went on. You say you had most of them return. Yeah,
we did. It was very neat. I've actually got a very long waiting list of new vendors waiting to get in because we had so many return vendors. So that makes me proud. I'm glad Covenant took care of those vendors and they're wanting to come back.
You need a larger venue. You've already sold out all your available space. Now you're in the Ag Center, which is just north of the interstate. It's what we call the new Ag Center, not new anymore, but it's the newer of the two. It's a great facility. It's got good parking, good access, but every space is finite. And when you're full, you're full. Were you able to go up on vendor fees this year because you are oversold?
We did increase just a little bit just to try to increase our revenue. It is a fundraiser, but I also don't want to outprice us either.
No, and I respect that. I understand that, and I appreciate you saying it. But at the end of the day, if you've got 10 hotel rooms and they're all sold, you don't have room to build anymore. You can only go up on the price. The admirable thing about your event is that all of the proceeds go toward all of the good works that Covenant Hospice does. So don't be embarrassed or ashamed. You're a little bit reticent about talking about going up on vendor fees. Shame on you if you don't go up every year. Because, well, I mean, at the end of the day, seriously, your effort is to raise money, not for you guys to party the rest of the year, but for you to do the good works.
Sure, it is.
And what more pulls at your heartstrings than hospice?
You're right.
At the end of the day. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with going up. And you have to build value. So those 30 or 28 people or however many vendors you fit in there, they say, hey, I have to make sure I pay my money and get a spot early.
Sure.
And I'm willing to spend a little bit more this year because I saw how many thousands of people came through last year. Do you have any rough idea?
I want to say it was right at 1,000 through the whole weekend.
See, and I would have guessed more. I guess, it's depending on your perspective, and you're probably trying to downplay the number because you always want more. From our perspective, being there most of the weekend, you had a lot of people come through there. A lot of people. But even 1,000 people, that's a lot. You had a snack bar. Now, Sweet Stuff Bakery was set up and they were serving food, which was particularly nice for vendors because they didn't have to close their booth down, go down to Zaxbys or wherever they wanted to eat lunch and then come back. Are you going to have food this year? We
are. We actually want to provide a cafe there for the shoppers and the vendors so they can, eat there and not have to leave and go anywhere. We have a few different restaurants scheduled throughout the weekend. Sweet Stuff will be joining us back. Zaxbys will be serving dinner one night. A new food truck called Fusion Craze will be serving dinner one night, and then Agape Barbecue out of Sneed's is going to be doing dinner one night. So to change it up and give our vendors where they're not eating the same thing the whole weekend, but we also want to give our shoppers a variety also.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that Vicki Baker and Sweet Stuff Bakery is coming back. But even though she was the only food vendor, she had a lot of choices.
She did.
People weren't just stuck with a bowl of a certain kind of chowder or kind of sandwich. I mean, there was all kinds of food. So good for her. Now, did these other food vendors approach you? Did they see that with the value, or did you approach them?
Well, I think Zaxbys actually approached me. They heard about it last year, and Claire definitely wanted to get in on that. I did approach Fusion Craze. They're a new business in town. I was actually at an event that they catered, and it was really, really good. And then the barbecue, actually one of the part owners works with us at Covenant, so it was a good fit.